On this episode of Arts Weekly, I'm speaking with Jim Schmidt and Kara Jaurigue from the Plymouth Congregational Church.
5 members who have been involved in every single production.
Oh my gosh.
37 years.
And Haig David West and Jim Gabbard from the IPFW College of Visual Communication and Design.
It gets them off campus, and it gets the community to see their work.
This is Arts Weekly.
Arts Weekly is a production of the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design. IPFW, the energy of arts.
Hello, this is Chuck O'Connor. You're watching Arts Weekly. Joining me is Jim Schmidt and Kara Jaurigue. They're here to talk about the 37th Annual Boar's Head and Yule Log Festival running December 28th through the 30th at Plymouth Congregational Church. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So the Boar's Head Festival, Jim, give us a little background. It's been with us for millenniums, and tell us how it got started.
Yes, it's a medieval festival that began at Queen's College in Oxford, England. It's brought over to the United States in colonial times by the Boughton family, and then found its way to the Hoosick School in Hoosick, New York. And from there, different religious groups have embraced it and put their own spin on it, and it's developed into the Boar's Head Festival that's produced all over the country today. There are many festivals.
But doesn't the tradition go all the way back to Roman times?
It does. It goes back to the fact that the boar was considered evil, and so the killing of the boar was really something to celebrate, that good can conquer the evil. And so the presentation of the boar's head was a presentation of that, the fact that the evil had been destroyed.
And how did Plymouth Congregational come about to performing this?
Right. In 1974 and 1975, a committee was formed. Harold Brown was the person who kind of came up with the idea that would have an intergenerational flair that would draw lots of parties from Plymouth Congregational Church together into an arts kind of production. And Vincent Slater, who was the music director at the time of Plymouth, was very interested in producing this kind of festival. So the committee itself went to Cincinnati and to Ann Arbor, Michigan, to view their Boar's Head festivals, and came back with the ideas. Vincent Slater is really the most responsible. He arranged all of the music that we still use today. There have been very few changes in that music. That is directed by Bob Nance, our current musical director. But without Vincent, there would be no Boar's Head Festival at Plymouth Church.
Well, Kara, how long have you been doing the Boar's Head Festival?
I was in my first production when I was 7. And I think we've tried to figure out how many I've done, but I think I've missed 2 or 3 over the years. So I'm looking at probably close to 30 years that I've been involved with the production.
Well, tell us a little bit about the story. Is it a secular story, a Christian story? What's it about? Sure. Kara, I'll throw that to you, or whoever wants to answer.
We'll throw that to Jim.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that's okay. There are really 2 parts. The first part of the story is a secular story. It takes place in a large manor house hall. And it's the celebration, the presentation of the boar's head that has been killed by the archer. And it involves what we call the courtly story. So all of the members of the court arrive to celebrate the death of the boar's head, or the death of the boar, and then the coming of the goodness that's going to be there. So we have lords and ladies that arrive. The beef eaters are there that basically protect everyone. The peasants arrive. There are serving girls, court dancers. Everyone comes to this great celebration. And from there, then it goes into the sacred story. And after the carolers and waits and the wasslers all come and celebrate, the church grows quiet, and then we have the story of the Christmas season, of course, the birth of Jesus.
Wasslers, are they the same as drinkers? Are
Well, what would we say? Yeah, they're carousers.
They're carousers.
They're carousers. They're
time people.
revelers.
All right, that's what we
Revelers, that would
thought.
be good.
And what do both of you do? Kara, what's your position with the festival?
I am the casting director, and Jim and I are co-directors this year for the festival. So as the casting director, I make sure everyone is placed into the specific role that they may choose, or they may fit into age appropriate with the costumes that we have. And so currently there's 186 people in the cast. I just casted 2 more people on the way over here in the car. So we're at 186, and 24 of those are brand new people to the cast that have never been involved in the production before.
So you do it the same every year? Are you sort of passing on the tradition? This is how we don't do it, or do you make a few changes every year?
There are some slight changes, but it's basically the same production redone every year.
All in all, then, how many people are involved with the Boar's Head?
With the cast, the choir, and the orchestra, we're at about 300 people every year that participate.
Are these mostly congregational people, or are they anybody?
We do have a good majority of the people involved are Plymouth Church members, but we do have outside friends and family that have come in and joined the cast over the years, and they just keep coming back, and sometimes they bring a friend or bring a family member, and they just sort of join the Boar's Head family.
And I bet some people just love doing this year after year after year. I mean, who are some of the, well, maybe you don't have to mention names, but
it's nice to mention names. We have 5 members who have been involved in every single production.
Oh my gosh.
37 years. One of them is locally pretty known in the arts community, and that's Jim Clouser, and he was the very first herald, and he has a singing solo, and he's been involved 37 years. Louise Meisgades has been in the cast, and the other 3 now are just members of the choir, but they used to have parts, a variety of parts within the festival, and that would be Gordon Walter and Michael Popp and Shirley Slater. And Shirley Slater was the wife of Vincent Slater, the person that we talked about originating all the music. But Shirley has also acted as the costume coordinator. So she organizes all 186 costumes this year, make sure everybody has the right hat and the right belt and the right shoes, and that's a tremendous job.
You know, it's quite an event. I've been to it once. You know, you sit in the church, and then there's the choir loft behind you, and you have a full choir. I don't know how many people do you have singing in the choir?
Approximately 30.
In the choir, right, and the orchestra.
And then you have an orchestra, which is made up of whom?
The orchestra is mainly Philharmonic, Fort Wayne Philharmonic folks.
I see.
And we do have some church members who both play in the Philharmonic but then have musical talents, and they are encouraged to be a part of that orchestra as well.
Why do they call this a festival and not a play? What's the difference between the two?
I think part of why it would be called a festival is the pageantry that happens. It's pretty well set each year, and that's why we can produce this in a relatively short amount of time. The story is the same. People don't have to learn lines. There is singing, of course. There are a few solos. The person who plays the Lord of the Manor and then doubles as King Wenceslas to teach a story. He sings, and we already mentioned the herald is one of those singing parts. The 3 wise men all sing. But other than that, the singing really comes from the choir and the congregation. It's very interactive. Right. So there are times when the congregation is encouraged to join in with the choir, and so they feel a part of that cast. So that's that unity that you like to have in the festival itself.
What's the biggest challenge, Kara, to directing what amounts to almost 300 people when you include the orchestra and the choir and all the cast? I mean, this must be an incredible undertaking.
It is incredible, but it's fun. It's wonderful at the same time. But I think the hardest part probably would just be coordinating everyone to be there when they're supposed to be there for their rehearsal, because we just have that one weekend of rehearsal time. So it's really important for them to be there and to be on time and to be committed to that specific rehearsal.
Just one weekend?
One weekend. We bring everybody in on the Saturday rehearsal. Different groups come in at different times, and then everybody comes back on Sunday, and we run the entire production through with everybody and place people that maybe couldn't be there on Saturday and fill in the holes and run it all through on Sunday. And then we don't gather back until after Christmas on December 27th when we run it
Right.
with the full orchestra.
And so the festival is always traditionally, it always falls between Christmas and New Year's. Is that,
It does.
The
Yes,
date? Correct.
December 28th, 29th, and 30th.
it's always on those dates?
Yes.
Right.
Any particular reason why those dates?
The very first year they decided to do it not before the Christmas season because of the rush and everything that was happening. And I think we've maintained that because it gives us a sense of focus on maybe what's very important about that season. The commercial part is all over, the gifts are open, a lot of the traveling is done, and now you have a chance to come and really think about that season.
And enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah. Right.
You know, because
Take
you're
that
right,
breath.
there's not a whole lot that goes on between those two different holidays of Christmas and New Year's.
Right.
And it's very clever.
Yeah,
Good
it's good.
marketing. Well, here we are in the middle of November, and we're talking about this production that opens at the end of December. Why are we talking about it so soon?
One thing is that although the tickets are free, we always fill the congregation. And so it's very difficult to get those tickets. So in order to do that, to get first dibs on the tickets, people can be a patron and support the festival through that way. And then they have the option to request which service that they'd like to come to. There are 2 services each of the nights, 5:30 and 8 o'clock. We try to restrict it to 6 tickets per patron so that there are tickets left for the public. The tickets then can go to the congregational members, 6 tickets per family in the congregation, and those are always distributed the first 2 weeks of December, which if you think about is only 2.5 weeks away.
That is.
And then, and the cast always
Right.
gets 6 tickets for being a part of the cast and choirs and orchestra. And then it's open to the public, and we have 1 box office night for the public, and that is always the Thursday before our weekend of rehearsals. This year will be December the 15th.
So December the 15th is the date that our audience needs to remember
Yes.
Right.
if they want to get tickets to this, because
Right.
it really, really sells out, even though they're free.
Right,
They're
exactly.
given away.
And the tradition is that we try not to turn anyone away. If there are tickets that are not picked up, then we release those 30 minutes before any of the services. And we try to get everyone in that we can, but you know, we're limited in the space that we have within the congregation itself.
Well, it's a wonderful event. I've been there myself. It's a Fort Wayne tradition, and I hope there's some tickets left for the rest of us, because it really is special. Thank you both for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We're pleased to be here. Thank you for having us.
For more information about the Boars Head and Yule Log Festival, visit plymouthfw.org or call the church office at 423-9424. Arts Weekly will return in a moment.